Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I hope that you are all fine and please stay safe at home. My name is Muhammad Akim Razali. I am from class CS 2483B2. What I'm going to present today is chapter 1, Science. So we continue our lesson. I'm going to present about the subtopic of chapter 1, which is characteristic of science. So there are three characteristics of science: reductionism, repeatability, and refutable. So for the meaning of reductionism, the complexity of phenomena is reduced by using a mathematical formula or mathematical solution. For example, the force of gravity, F equal to mg, which is invented by Sir Isaac Newton. So, Sir Isaac Newton invented the force of gravity formula after watching an apple fall to the ground. He's thinking that there is some kind of force that drawn the apple to the ground. So by inventing the formula, he's making the mankind easy to understand or calculate the science behind the force of gravity. For an example, increase in temperature. It is classified using the formula y equal to mx plus c. But just to be clear, in fact, the temperature is not linearly increased. It's just that the formula is used as a reduction, permudahan, or approximation, penghampiran. The second characteristic, repeatability. The meaning of repeatability is anyone can repeat the experiment and get the same result. For example, heating an iron. So if Ali hit an iron, the iron will expand. If Abu hit an iron, the iron will also expand. Even if everyone hit an iron and the result is the same, the iron will expand. Okay, but for non-scientific situation, it is depend on someone's ability. Okay, for example, someone who is possessed by a ghost. Someone who is possessed by a ghost need a high Islamic education people to handle the situation, because normal people couldn't handle the situation. And the conclusion is anyone can try, but not everyone could handle. For the last characteristic, which is refutable. The meaning of refutable is science can be falsified through an experiment. That experiment will enable other people to confirm or challenge their findings. Okay, so for example, the cure or vaccine. If a scientist found the cure for H1N1, for example, other scientists can make an experiment to confirm or falsify the cure or vaccine. But for non-scientific situation, again, someone who is possessed by a ghost. So, if there is 4 demons or ghosts in someone's body, the claim is impossible to confirm or falsify. For example, if shaman, Tok Bomoh in Malay, said there is 4 demons in Ali body. So the claim is impossible to confirm or falsify because there is no scientific tools to use in that situation. So that is all 3 characteristics of science, and that is all from me. Thank you.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. Let's continue with the limitations of scientific methods. Clearly, the scientific method is a powerful tool, but it does have its limitations. These limitations are based on the fact that a hypothesis must be testable and falsifiable, and that experiments and observations be repeatable. This places certain topics beyond the reach of the scientific method. Sometimes scientific principles are used to try and lend credibility to certain non-scientific ideas, such as intelligence design. Science is also incapable of making value judgments, and yet, used properly, the scientific method is one of the most valuable tools humans have ever created. It helps us solve everyday problems around the house and at the same time helps us understand profound questions about the world and universe in which we live. The scientific method has a number of limitations, including firstly, constrained by the extent of existing knowledge, which mean limited with the existing knowledge. Developing a hypothesis and designing an experiment is based on current human knowledge. For example, until viruses such as smallpox were discovered, many diseases could not be explained. Next, design of experiment is limited to observation, method, and instrument. For example, the discovery of viruses depended on the discovery of the electron microscope. Next, the human error. Mistakes can occur in recording observations or inaccurate use of measuring instrument by human. Deliberately falsifying results or scientific fraud is also one of the limitations in the scientific method. Then data interpretation, which means research findings are limited by human ability to interpret the results. Wrong interpretation can lead to wrong conclusion. For example, thalidomide was used to treat morning sickness in human pregnancy in 1950s. It was safely tested on many animals and then wrongly interpreted as safe for humans. However, the drug was not tested on embryo in womb. This caused limb deformities in babies. The drug was later withdrawn in 1961. Scientific method is also limited to the present. What is true now may not have been true in the past or in the future. For example, penicillin used to be effective against many bacteria, but new strains have evolved that are resistant to penicillin. As changes or evolution occur, scientific theories may require updating or revision. Ethical and legal responsibilities. Ethics refers to whether issues are right or wrong. Issues such as use of captive animals in experiment, origin of life, whether or not evolution took place, the way in which evolution may have taken place, contraception, abortion, assisted fertilization, cloning animals, freezing human sperm and embryos, the use of stem cells from embryos to form new tissues or organs and organ transplants. And lastly, accidental discoveries have contributed significantly to the development of scientific thinking. For example, the discovery of antibiotic penicillin by Alexander Fleming in 1928. Fleming carelessly left a dish of bacteria uncovered and it became contaminated by a fungus. He noticed that the bacteria were killed in areas around the fungus. The fungus produced penicillin which killed the bacteria, and so by that the penicillin was discovered.
Scientific methods propose a hypothesis for an issue. From then, scientists will conduct an experiment and observation. If the result from experiment and observation is the same as the hypothesis, then the hypothesis will be accepted, and a theory or term will be formed. Otherwise, the hypothesis will be denied. There are a few advantages of scientific methods. Firstly, scientific method is based on facts or logic from experiment and observation that have been conducted. Using induction methods, scientists have made a conclusion from the observation. From particulars to general, from observing many single instances to a general rule. For example, the observation below show that Ali is infected with the H123 virus. He has the flu. Sheila is infected with the H123 virus. She has the flu. Ahmad is infected with the H123 virus. He has the flu. In conclusion, the H123 virus causes the flu. Secondly, repeatability and objective. Repeatability is whoever made the experiment, the result from the experiment will be the same because the answer is objective. Hence, there is not a lot of dispute in science. For example, Ali hits the iron expands. Sammy hits the iron expands. Mei Ling hits the iron expands. In conclusion, The iron will expand when heated. Lastly is self-correcting. If the result of the experiment is not the same as the hypothesis, the scientists will make a new hypothesis. They will not defend their wrong hypothesis. If the scientific method is self-correcting, that is what makes science continue to advance.
Assalamualaikum, I am Nur Afaf Azlimiti Muhammad. So today I want to explain to you guys about science paradigm. So what is science paradigm? Paradigm is a pattern of thinking, while science paradigm is the entire constellation of belief, value, techniques, and so on shared by the member of the given scientific community. There are two examples of science paradigm that I will explain in this video. First example is geocentric and heliocentric paradigm, and the second example is rationalism and empirism paradigm. So first example is geocentric and heliocentric paradigm. So what is geocentric? Geocentric is any theory of the structure of the solar system in which Earth is assumed to be the center of it all. The most highly developed geocentric model was that of Ptolemy of Alexandria. It was generally accepted until the 16th century, after which it was superseded by heliocentric models such as that of Nicolaus Copernicus. What is heliocentric? Heliocentric is a cosmological model in which the Sun is assumed to lie at or near the central point, while the Earth and other bodies revolve around it. In the 5th century BC, the Greek philosopher Philolaus and Hicetus speculate separately that the Earth was a sphere revolving daily around some mystical central fire that regulate the universe. 2 centuries later, Aristarchus of Samos extended this idea by proposing that the Earth and other planets move around a definite central object which he believed to be the Sun. The second example is rationalism and empirism paradigm. The dispute between rationalism and empirism concerns the extent to which we are dependent upon sense experience in our effort to gain knowledge. Empirists claim that sense experience is the ultimate source of our concept and knowledge. Rationalists claim that there are significant ways in which our concept and knowledge are gained independently of sense experience. The empirism thesis does not entail that we have empirical knowledge. It entails that knowledge can only be gained by experience. Empirists may assert, as some do for some subjects, that the rationalists are correct to claim that experience cannot give us knowledge. The conclusion they draw from this rationalist lesson is that we do not know at all. For some rationalists, they take mathematics to be knowable by intuition and deduction. Some place ethical truth in this category. Some include metaphysical claims such as that God exists, we have free will, and our mind and body are distinct substances. The more proportion rationalists include within the range of intuition and deduction, and the more controversial the truth of those proportions or the claim to know them, the more radical their rationalism. So that's all from me. Thank you.